BarbacoaCore, a podcast network.
What is up, everybody? Thank you for checking out a new episode of the BarbacoaCore Podcast. Welcome back. If this is your first time checking it out, thanks for showing up. Today, I am joined by my homie on the Zoom chat, and we're doing a Zoom H6 recording. I'm loving this shit. I'm really fucking digging it. So give it up for my homie Justin Bires. What's going on, man?
Thank you. I'm doing good. I'm actually really excited to be on this. I got a brand new microphone, so
nice, dude.
I hope
I'm loving this shit, loving technology and all that stuff. So it's fun to do this with you, man. So thanks for hopping on. Thanks for doing this.
No problem.
So before we get into this, plug social media. What do you got going on?
Yeah.
Go ahead and go into that right now.
Just my name, Justin Bires. Instagram. I'm getting really into Twitter lately. That's actually probably my favorite one lately. So, but you can find me Justin O Bires. I try and that's my goal. Try and tweet once a day.
Yeah. If you are listening to the BarbacoaCore Podcast, please subscribe on whichever platform you are using to listen to the podcast. You know what's also a fun thing to do is to go on iTunes and do a 5-star review. I like to get drunk and go on my homie's podcast on iTunes page. 5-star it up. I feel good. I feel like I'm doing a good deed. So it'd be nice to get that back. They're fun to read. You don't have to like mean it. Just give me a 5-star and say like, "Oh, you sound fat," you know. And I'm fine with that. As long as you give me a 5-star, I'm fine with that.
He's like a good Uber.
Yeah. And then Twitter, Instagram, Patrick C. Huerta. And yeah. I want to kind of turn this podcast into like a storytelling podcast, you know. We'll find out a lot about our guests, funny stuff about them, the good, the bad, the fuzzy, all the good stuff. And so I'm super stoked to do this with you, to change the format with you for the first guest, for the new format, because you are a funny cat, like just off the bat. Like you just say random tidbits from like your past that would be fucking hilarious, dude. Like just one time you just randomly like put it in our group chat that we have, like, "Hey, y'all ever eat grass?" And I was like, "What the fuck have you been through, man? I gotta know more. I gotta know where this grass eating shit's coming from, man." So cool. Like so let's fucking get into this. And you're like naturally funny and stuff, and I think maybe going down your storyline and just telling your story from the beginning might help you with some bits that you want to put out on stage and all that stuff.
Hell yeah.
So we're gonna start with that. Start with your story, and even though that you're a comic, you're doing your thing and stuff, we're gonna talk about comedy later on down the line. Mm-hmm. So just stick to your story and stuff, and then we'll get into the comedy part of your life when we get to that part.
Hear you,
cool.
Man.
Sound like fun?
That sounds awesome, dude. Do I eat grass? We all got to pass, dude. We all.
So for the beginning, man, like where are you originally from?
Oh, okay, gotcha. So my genesis, if you will, it starts right in Texas's butthole, Corpus Christi.
Yeah,
it's a good place, man. In my opinion, I was actually. Have you seen the new Tiger King documentary?
The new one?
Well, Tiger King, right?
Yeah.
So I was watching that, and I didn't think that was like that weird of a show because, like, dude, these are familiar characters.
These are my neighbors,
dude. I grew up in Tiger King with less Mexicans. Man, I hate saying this because I love my parents and stuff, but my dad is like the less gay, more confident Joe Exotic.
Less gay, more confident. I'm pretty sure he appreciates that.
Yeah, dude. Shout out, Dad. I love you. But hey, man, you got to look yourself in the mirror.
Yeah, like I know you dog on your hometown and stuff, but like, did you ever have pride for Corpus? Like, did you ever love it?
Yeah, there was a time where I got into like a surfer beach culture, just a very small time. And for that time, I was like, yeah, you know what? This is all right. This is not a bad place to be.
Yeah.
But then
When
you lose your money.
When you decide to turn your back on it and kind of like be like, oh man, this place is not as good as I thought it was.
That I never knew anybody who left, right?
Oh yeah.
You know, when you're just like, oh man, everyone I know when making it is going to the oil fields, and you're just like, yeah, man, I work like 20-hour days. You're just like, dude, this place is probably not it.
So what was your upbringing like? Like your parents? You have siblings?
Yeah, I got one brother, and then I got one mom and one dad.
Oh, just one? That's cool.
Yeah. Hey, man, you don't know what
married?
people got. Yeah, they. I mean, I think they're.
That's rare. Are they happy?
No. My poor parents, they should get a divorce right now. Mom, Dad, if you're listening to this, it's time. But
it's too late for that, man. Once you get of a certain age, you can't divorce in your 60s, dude. Like, what are you doing? Like, just stay, stay, dude.
They're just like cranky roommates now.
Oh, I get that.
Yeah, and then
we all go through that phase.
Dude, we've all had a cranky roommate.
Yeah.
Dude, I get it, man. I've been with my girlfriend living with her as long as ever right now, and like we go through like a week where we become cranky roommates.
How long is that? Like, how long have y'all been together?
We've been together for 6 or 7 years, but but like this is the longest stretch that we've lived in the same like place, right?
Oh yeah.
So like, we're going on 3 months in the same house, and like from time to time we're just like
3 months, dude. That's nothing. What are you talking about?
Well, here's the thing: is there's strain because she's in medical school, right?
Oh, okay.
And
yeah.
I'm stand-up comedian. You know, I'm trying to like talk. You know, I have a lot of fun speaking with people, and she needs like quiet all times of the day to like.
Oh, okay.
You know, do doctor stuff, and I'm like, hey, is this dick joke funny? And she's like, you know, there's like a national crisis going on.
Yeah.
So
no, I get that, man. I get that. Like nobody, like some people aren't in the mood to like laugh or just joke around and all that stuff. And I get it, but like, man, I can't be too serious for too long, or else, you know, the sadness creeps in and that bullshit.
That bad boy be lurking.
It's always there. It's always there. But there's alcohol, so that's my homie. So you have one brother. How are things with you and your brother?
We're
older, younger?
Older.
Older.
3 years older than me. You know, he's an older brother at like kind of the standard level, you know. So he's a little bit of
3 years is pretty close, man. Like, I mean, like, were y'all cool when y'all were younger? Like, did y'all get along, or were y'all always at each other's throats?
I'd say it's like a cycle, right? Like, or like a wavelength. We go through times where we really like each other. Like, till I was about 12, right? He's like my best friend, and then he got like, you know what it is? It's like when the first kid hits puberty, it's like, dude, y'all got to separate, right? Like, because he's doing his thing and I'm doing mine.
Yeah,
and
completely different ball games, completely different like paths. You know, like one guy isn't a kid anymore, and the other one still wants to play GI Joes and all that shit. You know?
I hear you, man. Because we didn't have internet growing up, so we used to do. Dude, this is so cringy, but I'm gonna tell you. Just imagination games, right? Where we'd be like, dude, I'm a reptile in the backyard, and like, like dinosaur boys. And when your older brother like stops being a dinosaur with you, it hurts.
Dude, I could only imagine, dude. I could only imagine. Because, like, because you feel like you're at the same levels. Like, we play the same games and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. And then one guy, he just stops playing, and you're just like, come on, Peter Pan. You know, like, just stay young with me, you know? But he wants to fucking go off and do his thing, man.
Fuck girls, smoke weed. You're just like, that's a lot different than pretending to be a velociraptor.
So when you caught up, when you started going and growing up and all that stuff, did y'all get back together? Did y'all like become buds again?
No, I think that's when we clashed the most, right? Is like because he went out and he joined like gangs and started doing stuff, and this was so weird, but like I was doing the exact same thing, but like also I didn't want to do it with him. And so like we both found like the exact same friend groups in different ages. And then
Oh yeah.
and then right when I was about 15 or 16, I wanted to hang out with my brother and get into like some more hardcore stuff. And right about then he was like, "Nah, man, I don't want to hang out with you anymore."
Yeah, yeah. What about your extended family? Did you have like close cousins or anybody else like that within the same age group as you?
Yeah, but they're autistic, right? So that's like, they were really fun up until a certain point, and then, dude, I shout out autism. I'm not even gonna lie. You're the most fun until you're not.
Okay, yeah. Yeah. Man, I don't know if I knew anybody as a kid, as a child myself, with autism. I don't know. That's interesting. So like how many cousins do you have? Like how many people are in your circle, you think?
15 maybe? 15 cousins or so?
15 all in the Corpus area?
Corpus, San Antonio, yeah.
Okay.
But so you gotta understand, my mom's Mexican, right? So like they her dad's sister has 9 kids, and all of those 9 kids had 2 kids each, right?
Uh-huh.
So mathematically, we're gonna have a lot of people around the same age.
Yeah. No, I get that, man. So as a kid, what kind of kid were you? Like before high school, like elementary, middle school, like were you a fucking piece of shit? Were you a brat? Like, let's be honest. Like, what kind of kid do you think you were if you look back now?
All right, let's start like 5th to 7th grade, right? That's a good time. So I think that's probably who you are as a core person. Where
That early, you think?
Yeah, because that's the time you first get to hang out with friends, right? And you get to prove like what are you like outside of like mama and papa, right?
Okay.
I was the biggest piece of shit that ever lived.
You were a bully?
No, I wasn't a bully. So it was never hurting other people. It's just I didn't have respect for other people's like things.
Fuck.
Whereas like I got into this really bad habit of stealing and like going into people's houses, and like it was just a bad
like B&Es? Like you're doing B&Es?
B&E. What is that?
Breaking and injury?
Yeah, we did that
in 5th grade.
Yeah, and so it started young. About 9th grade, I was straight edge.
Yeah.
And well, I was straight edge for about 3 months, and then I went back to B&Es.
What's the biggest thing you stole out of somebody's house?
I don't. So out of houses, I wasn't that bad. But I'll tell you a quick story. When I was like in 7th grade, there was this house that we kind of thought was abandoned that also had running water in it. So we're like, oh, dude, you're a kid, dude. This is the best house to take a poop. When you're just like, dude, the door's always open and it has running water. But, we can't be too innocent about it because we had to find out one way or another that, the door was open. So one day we walk up there and, we're sitting in there smoking weed or so. And my buddy's taking a poop. And I hear the door just like blast open and saying like, I know you're in here. The cops are outside. And my buddy throws a chair through the window on the 2nd floor and jumps through like the Matrix. Like he breaks the window and jumps through the broken glass. And I remember I was looking, I was like, nah. And I lift the door, like the window up because I'm not that hardcore, and jump out. And we waited in the grass for 2 hours while cop cars were like circling because it was like tall Corpus Johnson grass. And
so y'all were in this house smoking weed? Mm-hmm. How old were you in 5th grade?
7th grade.
7th grade? Oh, okay. Yeah,
that makes more sense, right?
Yeah. I was like, even though it was like it's 2 years away, but I was like, oh yeah, 7th grade. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So y'all would just go into people's houses. Like I guess it was on the market, like to be sold, and that's why it still had running
You know what?
Utilities?
I never thought of it. I think you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually probably exactly what it was.
Okay. Okay. So were you the leader of the pack, or were you following the friends like in your 5th, 6th, 7th grade year?
Dude, I haven't been a leader since like the last year of my life, or like maybe the last 2 years. Yeah, dude, I'm.
Nah, I get that. I totally get that. Yeah.
You know, because you're a drummer, right? So it's like you get it. You're the rhythm. Like you're not stepping over anybody's toes. Like,
yeah.
But you're cool. You're pretty much cool to hang out with. But at the same time, I feel like that kind of helped me, right? Because you kind of have like this like I'm like water mentality, and I can fit in like any cup. And so like when I met some like really cool people and good friends, then completely changed how I am like overnight.
So did that change happen when you entered in high school? Did you have different friends? Did you go to a different school than your younger friends?
Dude, like exactly all of those things. So my mom, against my will, put me in a higher learning class, which was like I'm not going to say special ed, but
like a college prep kind of school?
Yeah.
Okay.
So they put me in a college prep school, and I was like so bummed about it because I was like, dude, I want to stay dumb with my friends. But
yeah. So you knew nobody. You're going to a school with completely no friends, all new.
Yep.
Nah, I get that, man. That's exactly what my high school was like, man. I went from a private Catholic school of like 30 people to like Southside High School with, and it was weird for me, and we'll get back to you. I'm sorry about that, but like I went to elementary school with these people, and then I disappeared during my middle school, and then now I'm reintroduced to these people in high school, and we're like, oh yeah, you kind of look familiar and all this stuff, but now we're high school, whatever. So it was pretty shitty and stuff. So tell me, like, so freshman year, what was the things going on with you?
That was the big transition year, right? Like around that freshman year or so, where immediately didn't know a single person. I got into like athletics, but I got into lame athletics. Like,
what's lame athletics?
Swimming. Like,
okay.
Yeah, so I got into swimming, and then I got into soccer, which was cooler, but I got that in a little later, like the next year or so. But I got into swimming, and so I just completely different group of friends, but they were still funny, man. Like, as soon as you find funny people, you're just like immediately like, yep, these are my people.
Yeah, for sure. So were you a jock all throughout high school? Swim team, soccer team, all that stuff?
Yeah, I guess so. I never really considered myself that because like I wasn't that like invested mentally into it. I was just actually kind of good, right? But like after hours, I wouldn't be like, hey guys, you want to like swim?
Yeah, it's like, yeah, you're still you're an athlete, but you're not like a football player, like soccer is still pretty good. Like, okay, what was it like the demographic? Like, was there a lot of Mexicans? Was there a lot of white people? A lot of black people? Like, what was the mix?
Yeah, I'd say so. Half and half, right? Like half Mexican, half white, and then maybe like 10 black people.
Half and half, man. So y'all had a shitty soccer team, huh?
No, we had an okay soccer team. The Filipinos,
all Mexicans.
The Filipinos were the best, dude. There was like,
oh, they love to run, man.
Dude, so good, man. I remember I grew up. I wanted to be Filipino. I was like, dude, they're so good.
Yeah.
But that wasn't in the cards for me.
So did you expand anything else? Like, were you like into theater or into like music or anything else in high school, or were those your only extracurricular activities?
Yeah, that was pretty much it. So it's like just athletics, and then I was in this like college prep program, and then earlier I already got out. Like in like 7th, 8th grade, we did like theater and music because it was like an elective. And I sucked at both of those.
Yeah.
I sucked so bad. They gave me the baritone, and out of spite, I chose to be the worst baritone player ever.
you chose to be? Like you
I did
it?
because so here's the thing: is I started. I don't know how they did it like back in the day, but they would give me a mouthpiece and they're like blow on it, and dude, I went out of the baritone, and the guy was like, "Oh, he's good," and gave me the baritone. And day one, he was like, "Man, you're just like you naturally are good at this." Mm-hmm. And I hated the thing because I walked home from school every day, which was like 2 miles away, and I had to carry it. So I tanked my own development and just never brought it home. And so I went from like being like the top baritone dude to like negative, where the guy was like, "Hey man, I think you should not do band." So I was like,
"Oh man." So you were embarrassed because of the instrument, or you just were not interested in being in band?
I wanted drums. You know, I wanted drums.
Anybody could play drums. Anybody could play drums.
Dude, they're like, "What do you want?" They're like, "Drums." They're like, "Okay, what other thing are you gonna get?" And I'm like, "Nothing else." And they're like, "Well, you know, unfortunately, we can't give you everything you want." And I was like, "Yeah, all right." Well, they're like, "So what we do is you go over and you blow everyone's thing, and you know, whatever the best blow you give, that's your thing."
Like drums are so like easy and stuff, but it like gets filled up really fast. So they want people to actually learn an instrument. Like, no, you really need to be a musician if you're gonna be in band and stuff. Fuck that, you know. I barely knew how to read music, so I stay with the drum line.
Fuck yeah.
So what kind of stuff were you into in high school? Like, what was the difference between like elementary school, middle school, and then you transitioned into high school, like on a personal level? Like, what kind of things were you into? Movies, music, like stuff like that. Especially with like a different like group of friends and stuff. Like you weren't with those B&E kids anymore. You know.
Yeah.
You were with college prep kids, swim team kids, soccer kids. You know.
What's so lame is the biggest thing that comes to my mind when you say that is I switched from listening to like hip hop to nu metal. Like that was the number one thing where it's like everyone listened to Linkin Park. Because I think if you're, regardless, it doesn't matter if you're 60. If you were 15, you were listening to Linkin Park. And so, I started doing that, and then between your friends being funny and like their music style, that will change a human like overnight, right? And so, it was pretty. But it was kind of weird because I still lived in like the same neighborhood as like my old buddies. So it was like I was like hanging out, but I was like, "Oh, dude, I don't really want to like do anything like too hardcore." But you know, whenever I came back home, you know, I'd want to like hang out with like my new friends.
Yeah. At the school, the high school, was there uniforms, or you could dress however you want to dress?
Nah, no uniforms, dude. Total freedom.
So what was your style?
Booty
what was
shorts.
Your style? Booty shorts? Were you rocking the Jinkos? Was Jinkos even around when you were in high school, man? Like we're 10 years apart, maybe more than that and stuff. So maybe baggy pants wasn't in. What was the style? What was the fashion style in your high school age?
Dude, I went through the whole rainbow, man, of like everything. I really like the baggy style. I love getting a fresh fade and having baggy clothes. The thing is, in high school, in freshman year, I was like 5'1", so everything was like baggy, regardless if I wanted to or not. Also, my parents were poor, so it was like I'd be like, "Let's go to Goodwill," and like whatever Goodwill had was like that was it. So I was already looked like I was like 5 years behind like the style. But then I changed to like overly preppy because I was like, "Oh, dude, I'm with these guys. Everyone's white now. Let me get some collared shirts."
Was it the group of friends you were rolling with, or was there a girl that made you switch up what you dress like?
Dude, girls didn't come into the picture till I was like 16. Like, I was like, "Yo, dude, I'm gay for my friends." Dude, I was such a late bloomer, like both physically and mentally.
Not interested? You were just not interested? Or you're just like, you know what? If they don't want me, I don't want them.
Dude, I remember when the first Pirates of the Caribbean came out. When that came out, I was like, oh, Keira Knightley, thank God I'm not gay. Like, that's my dude. I tell everyone to this day, that's my first girlfriend.
Oh, that's funny, man.
Yeah,
that's funny.
We broke up, dude. Different career paths, but
It didn't work out, huh?
yeah.
Most memorable moment in high school. Do you have one stick out for you?
Okay, I'm gonna give you two because one, I guess, but they're both the same. So, in math class, I didn't try because basically I learned about halfway through high school that you can't fail even if you try to.
Wow. Okay.
Because that George Bush did his no student left behind. I'm like, dude, this is awesome, man. This is awesome. This is the best. This is the best shit ever. You seriously cannot fail if you want to. So I tanked it until one test where they were like, hey man, seriously, like you're gonna do summer school if you don't start passing some tests. And so I studied, and I have a real good memory, so it's like I kind of figured some things out. And I went from like getting like 50s and 40s on tests to like getting 100, and the teacher in the class goes like, dude, you guys are gonna flip. Justin made the best grade in the class. I don't feel bad for this guy anymore. And I remember my face. I was like, dude, you're a teacher. What the fuck?
Yeah.
You guys can't say stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that hurt my feelings. And after that, I crushed that class, which was like probably what the guy wanted.
Out of spite, like to prove him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, dude, the guy thinks that I'm not like smart at all.
Yeah.
And then the second one was I was eating pistachios in my jacket pocket. I had like a 40-pound bag of pistachios.
40-pound bag.
Dude,
you were trying to bulk up real hard, huh?
Dude, my whole jacket, like inside was nothing but pistachios. And they were like, Justin, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm just eating. And they're like, you're gonna have to throw those away, like whatever you got. And I remember I was in the front of the class for like 10 minutes just pouring pistachios out in a trash can. And that was the first time I ever like killed a room where the whole class is like dying laughing because every handful of pistachios was like getting bigger and bigger laughs. I was like, oh, I'm a comedian apparently.
That's funny, man.
I was a prop comic.
That was your first path? So what'd you do after high school? Did you graduated? Did you go to college? Did you try college for a bit? What happened after high school?
Yeah, I worked for a year, right? Like I just
straight to the workforce.
I worked 2 jobs. My parents. I always worked for my parents since I've been young. They own a sewing company, and if you see my stand up, like all the coworkers were felons, and I'd make a little money there, but I wasn't making enough. So I decided to take a second job as being a landscaper. And dude, I think that's what like really kicked me out of Corpus, right? Just being outside so much. I'm like, dude, I need to get an education, like big time, because like we got guns pulled on us because we were like mafia tactics, like landscaping.
Oh, wow. Territories and all that shit?
Territories. We'd mow yards and then bill people.
Oh, fuck. That is shady, man. That was your family's company?
No. That was a landscaping.
Separate. Okay.
And so, like, if you like legit, like a subscription service, like if anyone was ever like, hey, yeah, can you mow our yard? Dude, you're on the list, right? Like you gotta, you gotta tell the dude not to mow it, like, and be explicit. Yeah. Otherwise, he's mowing the yard and he's asking me or my other buddy to hop the fence and mow the backyard. And I've hopped so many fences where the guy was like, "What the fuck are you guys doing in here?" And we're like, "We're just mowing your yard."
Yeah, you never unsubscribe, bro. It's like, a continuation.
He's like,
you didn't read the fine print.
He's like, I'm sorry, I got Hulu's lawn service.
Yeah. That's fucking hilarious. That's a great. I mean, it's a shitty thing. Like whenever you sign like a free 7-day free trial, and all that stuff, but you forget to cancel, and they just kept billing you and billing you. That's a great model. I mean, of course, I understand why they would pull the gun out on you because that's a shitty thing to do. But at the same time, you didn't unsubscribe, bro. I thought you wanted this.
Oh, whoa! You didn't unsubscribe. You didn't unsubscribe.
Yeah. So you did eventually go to school after that, or
so about I worked for about like 6 months, like just 2 jobs, and then I stopped working for my parents. Kept the lawn landscaping business, and then went to community college in Corpus, and that was cool. Like honestly, to this day, I swear community college is better than university college, at least where I went. Because it was cheap. It was like $800 a semester, which I can pay. I could pay that, no problem. Like, And then after, I was like, oh man, college is actually not that bad. Like, you do this, you meet cool people, and then I hopped ship, and that's how I got to San Antonio. Is I went to college in San Antonio.
Oh yeah. So jobs. You mentioned a lot of jobs. What was the worst job you ever had at any time, when you were a kid or after high school, whatever?
I was a busser at Cheddar's.
You think being a busser is the worst job?
Yeah,
that's nice.
So here's the thing: is this is a fault of my own. I have really good work ethic, where it's like, if you have like unnatural work ethic, there's jobs that are like never ending that you shouldn't work. Like I went 100% into busboying, where I'm like, I'm trying to like be the best ever at this, and it literally would kill me because I'd work just like 12 hours straight, just straight up every single thing. I'd do the waiter's job, and I'd smell like shit at the end of the day because I'd be working, cut myself, and then all the waiters were scared of the cook staff, because all the cook staff like spoke Spanish, and I speak Spanish a little bit and more at the time, and they're like, dude, can you get me like some chicken tenders? And but I got all the chicken tenders in the world.
Yeah. How long were you doing that, doing the Cheddar's busser?
Probably 3 months, but that was easily the hardest job that I've ever had. Easily. Oh
yeah, it sucks, man. I mean, like, I've been a busser for a few months and stuff. It's fun once you get the hang of it and stuff, but like, it's there's nothing fabulous about it, Sometimes you're the dishwasher, you got to be the part-time dishwasher, all that fucking lame bullshit.
You feel a little like dirt, That's what it is, right? Like, they're like, dude, I don't care. What's funny is I put my 2 weeks notice in, and the manager, the GM was laughing. He was like, I think you're the first one I've ever gotten.
Yeah. Do you remember as a busser? What was your pay? Did you get tipped out too, or how's it work in Texas?
I made something like $4.50 an hour with tip share. With
tips, right? Yeah. When I was a busser in Seattle, and they had like a minimum. Like, anybody makes minimum wage. Wait staff, everybody makes minimum wage, which is great. Because they do that here in Texas. I mean, they don't do that here in Texas. Like, you make $2 an hour. You only make money off your tips. So, but in Seattle, you get minimum wage plus tips. I was like, oh, man, this is great. It was a fucking great time. It sucked. It was a sucky job, but it was a great paying job for what it was. But I think it's so unfair how they do restaurant workers here. Like,
but what
they make nothing.
But what a lot of well, at least this is what they told me at Cheddar's. I don't know if this is industry standard. Is if they make under minimum wage, like like they just have a bust week, then they legally have to pay them like the minimum wage, right? Like it's like an incentive based thing. So if you want to be the shittiest waitress or waiter in the world, then then you can still make minimum wage.
I didn't know about that.
Yeah.
Cool, dude. So that's a lot of fucking fun just getting your story out there, stuff. Like we've been buds for like over a year and stuff, and I didn't know anything about that, man. So that's why I enjoy doing stuff like that. But let's get into comedy, man. How's things with comedy going for you? Like, how when did you start? How did you start in comedy?
Dude, we started the same month, right? So what are we like 2 years and 3 months in?
2 years and some months. Do we even count Corona? Do we
No.
count Corona time?
I'm
Is
gonna say-
everyone 2 years?
2 years, yeah, we're 2 years in, and so, dude,
And you started here in San Antonio?
and
Okay.
and I pretty much started. I think this is how most people do, where they get really into it, like just as a fan of comedy, where you're watching everything on Netflix. You've been watching since you were a kid on like Comedy Central or so, and then you just one day you see like the club and you're like, man, I see that place all the time. I should check it out. You drive there, and it's just an open mic, and everybody sucks. And you've been funny more or less your whole life. You know, all your buddies have told you you're funny. You've had a circle that's done nothing but praise you, and then you go on stage, and then you get humbled immediately. Yeah, and then after a month or so, you got a little bit, and then it just like it inches forward. So that was more or less me. I saw how bad people were, open micers were, and I thought I could do it. And then turns out that, we're all at that level at one point.
How many open mics did you go to before you actually signed up?
2.
And that was enough to convince you that, like, oh, man, I could fucking do this.
Yeah, dude. So there's headliners in the city I watched do open mic, and I was like, oh, that person was pretty funny. And that was like the most of it. But I was convinced after 2 open mics that I'd be the funniest person in the room.
Yeah.
I'm like, easy peasy.
You have to have that confidence. You have to convince yourself, or else you're never going to get on that stage. You have to convince yourself, I fucking got this shit. I'm going to fucking kill it. And it's hardly ever true. It's hardly ever true.
I do think about that, right? Like if I went to LOL and like I was super into it and I watched people crush it and like just every mic up there. Like if I started like the Tiger or so, and that was the first time watching comedy, live comedy, and I saw people crush it, would I have the confidence to be like, oh, I can do that? Because I always put comedians on a pedestal. I really did. I idolize comedians. But then kind of seeing them drop down to like what I view as like less than what I can do was like what gave me the confidence to get up there.
Yeah. What made you want to start? I mean, you mentioned like you watch Comedy Central, Netflix, and all that stuff. What made you say, hey, let me check out the local comedy scene here? Like what was that moment type of thing?
So when I was in college, I did a charity, like a video game charity thing, and the people that helped promote it was actually Larry Garza in that public access, like Comedy a Go-Go.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, I had a buddy at a Corpus that said, hey, you're out of San Antonio, you should do a podcast with these guys. And he gave me the number for Larry Garza and Jess Castro, and I sent them both an email like, hey, we're like doing a non-for-profit charity thing. Wondered if maybe we can kind of promote on your pod. And they had us on, and easily it was the most fun I had doing anything in like 2 years.
That's crazy.
And so, yeah, and it's still out there. Like you guys can listen to it, but we talked about, just everything. We talked about our promotion, and after that just had a great time. Besides that, and that was before they did it live, right? Like in a live audience. And those guys were so funny. They were telling me, they're like, hey, you guys are unbelievably funny. I'm surprised y'all aren't comedians. Like, you guys have really great senses of humor. Y'all should check us out at the Blind Tiger, LOL. And it's like about 3 months later, I was like, you know what? I'll go there. Maybe I'll see them. And that was kind of like one of the entry points, I think.
That's cool, man. That's kind of like a small world type of thing, Like you meet these guys accidentally, and then like you become like kind of friends with them, tiger buddies with them, and all that stuff.
But what bums me out is in my head I was like, dude, those are the first people we met in San Antonio comedy. This might be one of the best scenes in the world.
Oh yeah.
And I was so bummed. I was so disappointed.
Oh yeah.
I was like, what happened? I didn't realize that was like we were on Mount Rushmore, like as far as like what San Antonio comedy offers.
Yeah, that could be a shock. I get that for sure. Yeah, because I mean, like I love the local scene, but it's kind of rough, man. It is kind of rough for sure.
Yeah.
Who are some of your favorites? Who are some of your influences in comedy?
It changes so much, right? Like,
Yeah.
So I'm sure you can attest to this. Like right after I go, you can tell me. I'm curious. But when I started, I was so top shelf. It was like I like Chappelle. I like Eddie Murphy. I like Chris Rock. I like Louis. I like Tom Segura. And now that I'm actually in comedy, sure, those guys are like cemented, like greatest.
Yeah.
I love those. If you're out of New York, I probably love your comedy. Mark Norman, Sam Morrill, Andrew Scholes. That dude might be my favorite right now. But I also love like Theo Vaughn and Andrew Santino. Like I think those guys are heavy hitters.
Mm-hmm. So anybody that you kind of like not inspired, but like kind of like your style, like you kind of like you want to like not follow in their footsteps, not copy them too much, but anybody that you're like you like to lean towards that style, because they're like music, there's all these kind of subgenres and all that stuff, if that makes sense. So with comedy, like are you like a very like what is your comedy style based on the influences that you have, I guess?
I wanted to be Theo Vaughn when I first started watching him. I legit I was like, man, I love this guy. Has a lot of similarities to me, like right off the rip. I think like he makes up words, like that's kind of like
that's one of my favorite things about you, man. You say the most ridiculous stuff, like that you need a glossary of things that you say, because you just combine words or phrases or like, what does that even mean? You're like, it is what it is, man. It just makes it it's I said it.
Come on,
I said what I said.
Why you gotta ask me what speckle-decker means?
Yeah, I said what I said. It's funny, right? It's funny, right?
So I love that stuff. And then, I wanted to be Theo for a long time. Obviously, Dave is like the guy that I've seen him probably more than like any professional comedian. I'll chase him around Texas when he shows up. But yeah, now it's kind of nice because I don't care as much about trying to like copy other people. Now I can just enjoy comedy because I'm like, I haven't found like what I want to be as a comedian or my voice, but I like what I do right now. So it's like I don't feel the need to be like I should lean more towards how this guy does it.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, that was kind of a dumb question, I guess. Like I just wanted to see like where you were at as far as like your style, like kind of not mirroring, but just kind of like picking from different pockets to make your style and all that stuff. So yeah, why do you think? And I mean, this is the moment where you go into like pretentious mode, and not just you. This is like just a question that like, oh, if you answer this, you're so pretentious. But why do you think doing comedy is important to you? Or important in general?
I guess I can answer this two ways, right? So it's important to me because I'm an addict, right? Like I'm addicted to comedy. Going up on stage, doing well, you can attest to this. That's a great feeling.
It's a drug.
It is a great feeling. Do you ever have a better like night than whenever you've like, for your standard had a great set? You're just like, man, I'm set for the week. Right? Like, nothing can really knock me down until your next bad show. But, so out of it, it's selfish, right? Like it's fun and it's exhilarating. You get your drug out of it. It's important because, dude, who doesn't like to laugh, right? Like it's like pretty much making a movie. Like you're basically like a theater. You're just making art. I know you're addicted to comedy too, though, man. We've all been there.
Yeah, man. Like it's so fun, man. And like I've always needed to have an outlet, whether it was from like with music and doing podcasts, and then it was comedy. It's so crazy that I just went away with this whole pandemic thing, and now we're just like, it's coming back, but it's just gonna be so weird just to get back into it, like just to start back at the starting line again.
Are you nervous?
No, well, I'm more nervous about crowds than I am about getting back on stage. I would love. There's so many shows coming into town, or that have already started coming through town that I would love to go check out, but I'm just like not ready for crowds and stuff.
Yeah,
So I don't know, man.
but I think as soon as the initial wave goes away, this whatever's going through like that COVID, it's gonna go through, right? It's gonna run through, and hopefully burn out, or if not, then it's like it'll be treated, more like a flu, where it's like, it's very treatable.
Yeah. But I mean, you shouldn't be worried. I mean, you're a pretty healthy guy. You're young. You're healthy. You do yoga.
Yeah.
So that should beat off the Rona on its own.
Dog, I'll beat off the Rona any day.
What are some of your short-term goals for comedy? Short-term, long-term. What are some of the things you want to accomplish in the next months, years?
Yeah. So I'm actually in a good situation right now. So my goal for the year was I wanted to do comedy in a different city, and I'm in Houston right now. Like I'm actually waiting for an email to see if I can make an open mic tonight, but I doubt it's going to happen. It's kind of a long shot today, but
oh no, yeah.
Sometime this week I'm going to hit my first open mic since March.
Yeah, man, that's a long time. That's such a long time.
And that's not the terms that I wanted to like come to a new city and try. Like I wanted to be sharp, and you know how like when you hit comedy and you're like, I did it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, by Friday you're a beast. Like you feel good about it. Like you go on, you're like, even if the audience isn't really feeling me, I have the confidence to like deliver. A 3-month break is not the kind of like delivery that I'm like excited for.
Yeah.
So I'm going to get there and I'm going to do everything I said I wouldn't do, where I was going to be like, I'm going to hit the stage and I'm going to try all new stuff. I have nothing to lose. I'm like, no, I want them to like me.
Nah, yeah, I get that. It's tough to get back into it because like I know like you would be on a different mindset if you were going and like, oh, okay, now I'm gonna check out another scene in another town, and but you're still on that fucking wave. Now you got to ramp up in a new spot. It's gotta be kind of hard, man. I'm like, go out there, man. Like, just fucking do it. I mean, I think it's fucking awesome. Houston is a fucking huge spot. A lot of people on the outside, New York, California, always put like a light shine on Houston and the comedy scene that they have there, man. So yeah, any chance you get, go out there and fucking do that, dude. I think it'd be fucking great for you. So hypothetically, just say hypothetically, you weren't focused on comedy. You weren't like, because it's a lot of time. I don't think a lot of people understand. The people that really want to do this with comedy as an open micer, to be good, you have to like put the time in. You have to put the work in. A lot of people don't understand that. A lot of people don't do that. Okay, so for you, if you had to focus on anything else but comedy, hypothetically, and you can have fun with it. It could be silly. It don't matter. What would you be focusing on? What would your life be about if there was no comedy for you?
Dude, I don't know, because I still want to be creative. So it's like, I'm thinking I might want to be like an animator where I can like draw cartoons.
Yeah.
That, to me, that sounds so much fun. Like I get on it and I'll be absorbed, where I sit down, I'm there for 8 hours. I want to make something.
Yeah.
Otherwise, dude, I'll be like at Lifetime Fitness trying to be the best ever like pickup basketball player.
Yeah.
Oh, easy, dude. I got a jump shot that's so wet. So wet.
So how is the animation coming? I know that you started working on that when the whole quarantine started off. Are you getting deeper into that? Like you're getting better, putting stuff together?
Yeah. So I am competent in it is what I'll say. Like I kind of know what to do, and like kind of if I have like an idea, I can do it. It's just, do I have the time or like the energy to do it more than anything? But it's been kind of cool. Like I posted one thing of a sperm hitting a punching bag, and I got 10 people who messaged me saying, "This is super awesome. Would you do something for me? Like I'll do a little, like I'm willing to pay." And I was like, it wasn't even that good. So I was like, man, maybe I should get good at this. Like, cause that was a lot of fun to make.
Yeah. How long did that little short, like how long was it and how long did it take you to make it?
It was about 4 seconds long, and it took me about 3 hours. But,
yikes.
But so here's the thing is it's like the little stuff takes a long time. The actual drawing it, no time at all. And like the movements take a little while, but I'd say like the idea and like actually knowing what you want to do takes the longest time.
Yeah. That's cool, man. Okay, another hypothetical. If you could go back to the high school senior, to you as a high school senior, knowing everything that you know, that you've learned throughout the years, knowing everything that you know today, what advice would you give that guy knowing that he's going to take that further or to the future, I guess?
Dude, I'd be bad because I still have the addict mind where I'd been like start comedy earlier, right? Where I'd get myself addicted quicker so that I'd be like better.
Start right now.
Start right now. Dude, you don't need college. Why do you need college?
That would be amazing, dude. That would be amazing. I could only imagine. Because like you hear those stories about comics that started 14, 15, 16, fucking putting on a special at 18, 19, 20. It was like, what the fuck? That shit's insane.
That's the thing is like when I heard that like Eddie Murphy put out Raw and Delirious at 22, I'm like, dude, fuck that guy.
Jesus. Like those were like good, man. And then at 20,
but he was,
I think he was like 21, 20, something like that. Yeah.
8 years
he started
in already,
like,
though. You know, if you start at 13 or 14 and you put those years in, which you wouldn't think that those years are like, you have the life experience to really like work with. But at the same time, if you think about it, that's when your brain is the best to absorb new information. So it's like you find out what's funny quicker, right?
Yeah, man. Yeah. They're all silly stories. The delivery was on point. The characters were fucking funny. I mean, it's very fucking, it was mind blowing if you think about it. But at the same time, I mean, like if he was doing that for like 8 years in, he knew exactly what he was doing. Just because he was young doesn't mean that he didn't know what he was doing. That's a great example. So yeah, you would tell your high school kid, fucking start comedy now.
Start comedy now. You don't need college, dude. What's money? And meanwhile, I'm sitting here nice with a good salary, and I just ruined this kid.
I put him. You hear about all the struggles that they got to do, man. It's like it's a punk rock lifestyle. You got to fucking sleep on floors and all that stuff. Just get like that stage time.
He's like, "What about you?" Like, and I'm like, "I got it too good."
Dude, my therapist asked me that question. Like, if your childhood self saw who you were today, what do you think would happen? And I was like, that's such a shitty thing to do to me, man. I was like, I pay you for this shit. Fuck you. But I was like, oh, that'd be a funny hypothetical if it wasn't so sad.
Yeah, you're like, I gotta ruin my life and my life at 18.
Yeah. Cause like, yeah, he just went about it wrong. He's like, what if the little kid that you knew back then saw who you were today? I was like, no, that's not funny. Make me go back and tell that kid, hey, fucking start comedy.
That's great, dude.
Cool, dude. This was fun. I like this. I like hearing your stories and stuff. We didn't get into the whole grass eating stuff, so next time when you come on, you gotta give me some of those grass eating stories and shit.
Yeah,
because you have some ridiculous stories from your past and stuff. And hopefully some days those will be on stage. You could make those into bits, because it's fucking funny stuff to share.
No, man, dude. Thanks so much for putting us on here. I'm sure we're gonna do something. If anything, we can do now that we're all set up with an actual setup instead of just working in like earbuds. I think we got everything we need to, actually have like some, round table podcast too.
Yeah, man, that'll be a lot of fun, and hopefully, like, people will start meeting up with people again. So how are you on that, dude? Are you cool with going out? Are you cool with people? Are you cool being in crowds?
Yeah, no, I mean, I haven't really been out so much, but mentally, like, it sucks. But like in my head, it's almost over, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to convince myself of that too. Like, it's done. I think, and it's the numbers are going up, but it's such a small amount, and like they're like older people and people like already like with pre-existing conditions that it's happening to. I don't know, man. I'm hoping not to get sick, but I'm getting real tired of the whole quarantine life. I need to get out eventually. But so cool, man. Once again, plug social media. How can people find you?
Yeah, Twitter, Justin O Bires, and then Instagram, Justin Bires. And what I'm really excited to do is I'm going to put out a YouTube channel where I can start putting some ideas, some animations, some skits out there. One thing that I was really noticing now that I'm in Houston and trying to like get on shows, I was like, I really don't have footage of me. I have a lot of audio that I'm really proud of, but I haven't put it to anything. And so it's harder to get someone to be like, yeah, no, just listen to this audio file than to be like, here, I could send you a clip. It just, I think I really want to make a big push into, committing to being a, stand-up comedian that is proud of his stuff.
Awesome, man. Again, thanks for doing this. Best of luck out there, man. You fucking got to kill it out there. How long are you supposed to be up there?
Just it looks like it's going to be about a month, right? And
then
I'm going to head to San Antonio for a little bit. I haven't been to my apartment in 2 months, so if it's ransacked, bummer. But so I'll be in San Antonio. It'll in the minimum a month. I don't know if I'm going to stay in Houston for another month after. We're just kind of playing it by ear.
Cool, man. Well, best of luck on it and everything. Thanks for doing this, and we'll see y'all next time.
Take it easy, brother.
Laters.